A brand new week on F124, a brand new handling model on F124. Welcome along, folks, for RPL Tier 2 preseason here in Brazil. Sao Paulo, quite a famous circuit, quite an interesting circuit. Oh, my audio's too loud. We turned it down. We're good. Anyways, I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, here for the event tonight, and alongside me is the Season 5 Tier 2 Saudi Arabia podium sitters, one and only RPL podium, Lando Norris. Welcome along.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. It's been a while. A good year and a half, I'd say. But we're back.
Yeah.
Formula 1 24 action here in Brazil. It's going to be spicy.
I agree it will, and you know what? We have Canadian Grand Prix weekend as well. We have, I think, a week or two before the season. There's been a little bit of discussions behind the scenes of maybe starting it a week earlier like people want. We'll find out what happens, but a new handling model, a new update to the car performance. We've got lots of things to talk about, Lando, and it's been over a year since you've last commentated with me. Never have an RPL, but now you're here.
Yeah, hopefully I don't make a joke of myself, but nah, we'll be fine. We're chilling. It's a new game. I don't think there's any new drivers in here, but I'm just going to say that there are, just to make it look cool. But yeah, a big thing that I'm excited about, the vehicle performance chart is actually the closest it's been in a long time. Will we see an actual team, like an Aston Martin, maybe a Mercedes, on the front row today? Well, there's only one way to find out. We have to go through qualifying.
This is true, and also you mentioned the performance chart that got a big update. The one and big update probably being that the bottom field has been switched quite a bit, but I think the thing that has got people's attention is that obviously McLaren and Ferrari, they were going to be second and third fastest, depended on which order was going to be where, who was going to be in front of the other, but the bigger thing maybe being that Mercedes and Aston are still quite close to them, and they have quite the edge over AlphaTauri, now known as Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, and they're now sixth fastest when they were last or second to last just last week. And Alpine, Haas, Williams, Sauber, they're quite close to the back of the field, quite changed up. We've got lots of things in this preseason to talk about in terms of the car update, but as for the handling, some people on Twitter seem to not really like it. They just complain like usual. And there's a lot of people who actually seem to like it more this time than last time. Like you said to me prior, Lando, I think it takes actual skill.
Oh yeah, I think from the hour of playing with this new handling model, I think the greatest thing about it is I'm a preset merchant. I'm not afraid to say that. I like presets. I don't like custom setups very much. But it feels fun. It feels very rewarding. I will say the only downside to it right now, and this just might be the preset, there's a lot of understeer off the exit of some corners, especially high speed. But other than that, whether you're an esports driver or not and you complain about it, if you just complain about the handling model, just don't buy the game, please. Like, if you're gonna complain the entire time, just move on. There's other
Never gonna be
games
perfect.
No, yeah, nothing's gonna be perfect, but it's a massive step forward to what it was, and I think I've been one of the most critical people of it, considering I don't like using, and I'm going to quote it, I don't want to break my rig just to make a corner. I shouldn't have to break my entire sim rig with the previous handling model just to go 4/10 faster. So I'm glad EA and Codemasters listened to the people, mainly esports drivers, about the handling issue. And now, we could properly go racing. How about that? Racing.
Yes, that is true. We are starting to ready up for Tier 2 preseason. We had Tier 3 preseason yesterday. I was racing. You were watching. A few things to talk about with that. We did have two higher tier drivers in that event. This event for tonight, we do have two higher tier drivers in this again. I think this is really just in preparation for those guys to get practice for the tier they race in, and also the fact that maybe to feel the field a little bit before the season anyway. You're a tier 2 full-time driver. You're commentating this one, but you kind of get to see what this grid is like before you return. Your last start being in season 10 of tier 2. Spa of that season, I believe, maybe Singapore, something like that. But you kind of get to see what this grid is like again before you race on it next week or the week after as well. And just to recap Tier 3 preseason last night for those who are wondering who I was talking about in terms of higher tier drivers racing, you had Eggles in there, the Tier 3 coordinator, kind of seeing what the drivers are like, and Wavy Knife, who just bought the game, and won Tier 3 preseason. So he can't really say he's entirely a one-win wonder anymore, but based on points races and races that actually count, he still is. So there's that with Wavy. And yeah, Lendo, you're going to be returning to this grid this season. Tell us about that as well as we head to qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, I had that little stint on F123 in that Aston Martin. I made that Aston look, well, mostly like a hero until I got dropped back down to Williams, which is unfortunate. I'd say the highlight of it all was really my my performances at Imola and Monaco and even Belgium, I'd say. Belgium's always been a sleeper of a track for me. Monza, well, something
Points in
about
the
me
Williams.
in Italy just seems to go crazy there. But, I mean, I think my Imola performance was the best. However, ironically, since I'm part of the Ferrari Academy, the fact that a Ferrari driver took me out at Imola when I think I would have had the race won, and I'm going to say it until the day I die. Because I was catching salmon polo by about a second and a half, and to have a Ferrari just tamburello me is fantastic. But I am excited. I like the game now. I like the handling. But you know what I really love? I love the games with the ERS, and we're gonna see it again. The ERS games.
Yep. And you know what? That's going to be a big factor in this qualifying session that we have in terms of drivers using it, drivers choosing not to use it. That will definitely make the difference. I think that's going to be the big mind game in terms of how to make yourself faster. You might want to use medium or hot lap the whole way out. You don't want to turn on your overtake too much. There's a lot with this session we'll talk about in terms of the ERS. Lots of changes on this game. You have none, medium, hot lap, overtake, 4 different modes, and it's been talked about, I feel like, quite a bit since this game has come out a lot with the recovery or the overtake, the powerness of it. I mean, you and I did some 5-lap races, and I would have to say, it's not as scary as I thought it would be, but it's still quite scary during certain straights where it's like, whoa, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah, I think this is really one of the tracks where you're going to see the danger level of moving under blocking, moving under braking is going to be critical, especially in the turn 1 into the Senna S and turn 4. I don't think it's worth it to defend into turn 1 anymore. Why? Because the car in front of you is just going to dump that ERS. So really now, it's all about these mind games, you know? What can you do? And a big factor of that is the new setup option with the engine braking. How much rear locking do you want? Do you want maximum harvest, or do you want maximum reliability in a corner? That's the balance these drivers are going to have to find today. And I think, personally, I would go with 70%. I would want some battery, but I also want some lock-in and nice handling. But there's only one way to find out who's got the pace. We got 18 minutes of quality to do.
And 14 drivers to make up this grid. Egg is on a lap. He's using hot lap down into turn 4. He just went through the Senna S, didn't invalidate there. That's the good thing from Egg right here. Egg, the full-time driver in Haas in Tier 1 this upcoming season. He did the Tier 3 preseason event yesterday. Just finished behind Wavy Knife, and it's for Egg as well during Tier 2. And that stint he had before going up to Tier 1 or before going back to Tier 1. He had a podium in this tier in the very first few seasons prior. You can just see the rear locking. It's still a thing a little bit. I just don't think it's as frequent, though. This circuit maybe being a bit more of one where it occurs a little bit more. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out as we go through the session, end up going through the season as well. But here we go. Down the start-finish straight here, just the final few corners. No braking on these corners. You already went to the last braking zone. Egg is our benchmark. It is a 8.5 where the driver is setting the first hot lap under this new handling model. There's a lot we're going to be talking about with this new handling model. And Jack Miles, a former Tier 2 champion, another driver who's supposed to be in a higher tier, racing this event tonight, gone fastest, then was Jack Miles going fastest. But we'll go on board with SV Lenda because I want to talk about this driver. He did Tier 3 yesterday. It's a Tier 3 full-time driver, but it's really not been the greatest start to RPL for him. 8 out of his 9 starts, including preseason and social race events, have resulted in DNFs.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but preseason's where you gotta just find the groove, and unfortunately for him, and he's gone around.
Oh no!
And he's kept it. He's kept the wing, but the preseason struggles for much like Alpine in real life is happening right now to SV, and the only way you can really battle out of that is just to keep the grind up. You just gotta keep on fighting out of the hole. I know how it feels. F122 was like this for me. You just gotta find that moment.
This is very true. Kentucky went second fastest. Our brand new winner from the social race just earlier this week in Abu Dhabi. She's been quite fast so far to start this game. Bulugaki has been quite quick on one lap pace from this new handling model from what we've seen so far, but he's really not put a full race together since that Japan podium that he's had. Maybe since the Brazil Tier 1 race that he did as well. Kipu's on a lap. Kipu's got one more corner to go. Some famous moments happened in this area before. Is this Glock? It was Glock, but Kipu maybe hopes he can take a Glock to the front of the field here. JTK is fastest once again. He won the preseason event last week, Lando. And I've got to say, being the vice champion last season to JNT Gaming, surely he's a favorite.
Oh, absolutely. I think right now he's in the Red Bull. I'd say he's in the fastest car right now, but his pace throughout all of last season was immaculate in that really just a tractor of a Mercedes. And I think JNT's actually going to have a lot of competition. I think in moments like pressure, and I think JTK is going to prevail against JNT in pressure moments. JNT's had those sparks of unfortunate mistakes that he's caused only on himself. So if I had to choose anyone, I'd go with JTK right now. He's got a lot of momentum. Yes, he finished behind JNT, but I don't think that's a write-off. I think he's going to come back stronger, and I think he's going to be faster than him throughout this next season.
And the thing with JNT and JTK, the difference with them, JTK went with a faster car, whereas JNT Gaming mentioned the pressure got to him, so he decided to drop down to a slower car. Someone else who went to a different car as well during the offseason for Tier 2 was Redfire Tiger. He also went to a different academy as a whole. He was in the Red Bull Academy racing in AlphaTauri and Red Bull, and now he's in Aston Martin. And I really think we saw this car kind of hit its peak in Brazil just about 2-3 seasons ago whenever Florian, in that same exact car was in contention for a top 3 finish, got the top 3 finish on track, then lost it in the stewards room. He took a 3rd place finish, or 2nd maybe, in Hungary that same exact season as Aston. And we've not seen Aston win a Tier 2 race, but we've seen them on pole before. And I think, like you were mentioning to me before the stream, Lando, this Aston technically is a 5-car race with these other teams with where this car is at certain tracks. This may be one of those tracks. We'll find out what Redfire can do as he turns on his battery just now.
Yeah, I think really a lot of this track is just about being consistent and just having the rotation. I think this track is a very rotation-based track. So I think what a lot of these guys have done with their setups is done the, what I don't like is let's put 15 loaded on the 15 aero on the front wing and just get rid of all the rear downforce. But that's how you have to run these cars, These cars are very heavy, they're very understeery. So I do think the Aston Martin, though, is genuinely, you get the right driver and then at the right track like this, I do think this car can challenge for podiums and wins. But it all matters to now, like with the realistic performance update, there's going to be cars that struggle at some tracks and prevail at others. Keep an eye on the Williams and the Mercs and the McLarens. You'll see where they are at, high downforce. Expect to see the McLarens, high speed, just pounding everywhere. But then you have cars like Ferrari, very balanced, very good in a lot of places. They should be consistently up there. And then you have cars like the Haas, where you never really know where they're going to be until the checkered flag.
So you're basically saying, similar to, I guess, Owen, in Singapore Tier 1, we could have something like that happen again, except this time in Tier 2. And you're also basically saying as well, kind of like 2012, where different tracks, different cars in the equation, which would be very nice to see.
I think it can happen. I think the field, relatively looking at the times, it is pretty close. I mean, Jack Miles in the Visa RV is not too far off of pole position. Yes, it's 7/10, but
and he's
that's
a Tier 1 driver
relatively
too.
Close. Yeah. And a Tier 1 driver, and the track's just only going to keep ramping up. And these times, relatively, I think they're going to get really, really close. And I think when we do have full grids and all the tiers together in their respective order, I do think it's going to play out to be more exciting qualifying and hopefully very exciting racing.
But to your point, though, you put the right driver in the right car, you will get what you have right now with Jack in this session, or even with Kipu in 8th right now in the Alpine, which is the 8th fastest car. Eggles as well, 9th in the Haas, which is right around where that Alpine is too. You're exactly right, and Dill JG, our last race winner at Tier 2, by the way, just went 4th fastest. No, wait, Jack Miles improved. Sorry, that was who improved. But yeah, you're exactly right. We saw this as well. You may have watched Tier 2 quite a bit last season at the end, and you would see it a lot more in the beginning. CRE Dom, he was not really supposed to be Tier 2, but he couldn't make the Tier 1 times originally. He was in the Haas, and there were a few times on the race starts where he was even contending for the race lead.
Yeah, I think this season's going to shape up to be a real classic of who can prevail on all types of circuits and who can maximize their car performance. I honestly think, if you're in a Haas like I am, I do think there's going to be chances where you're going to be up there. Maybe not for race wins or podiums, but like you said, you build your own luck in the F1 and in league racing. You build that own luck. You put yourself in the right moment at the right time, and you can see yourself like where Kipu is in the Alpine, where Jack is in the Visa. You never really know until that moment happens. So you just got to keep on clocking in. And with these cars, anything's possible.
SSR William as well clawed his way up to 9th place in the V-Carb, the Puerto Rican driver, who has 2 starts to his name already in RPL. SV is on a lap. We're watching him right now. We'll talk about him in just a moment, but Tadpole goes fastest by 3/10. There you go. There's the first dominant time of this session. I think to your point, though, of different drivers in different places and different storylines to look out for, the last few seasons that we've ran Saudi Arabia, even since Season 5 when you got your podium in RPL Tier 2, we've always had a back marker car on the podium or in a top 4 spot by the end of the race. You did it twice in an AlphaTauri. Blue Gagi was up there once in a Haas. Owen got a podium in a Williams there. Oh, we have a crash at the pit lane. But yeah, whatever it is, it always seems like Saudi Arabia gets that back marker car with a certain driver on the podium every single season. And maybe if Saudi Arabia is on the calendar this season, could we see that same thing happen again? Maybe even with yourself for a third time the charm?
Oh, that would be beautiful if I can. And I do think that it's a lot of factors, and I think with Saudi it is a driver's circuit, but it is also very reliant on your car. So it's a bit of a gamble, really. If you're like for me in the AlphaTauri, the car wasn't that bad, but I knew how to run the track. So I think you might not know how to run the car, but if you know the track, it's a lot easier to adapt to the track more and then get used to the car first, rather than finding out what the car does first, rather than the track. And I think, like you said, something about the Saudi air prevails on back marker cars. I think this season you're going to see that a lot more at certain checks. I think maybe Bahrain. Bahrain could be a scary one. It's going to be tracks that are, I wouldn't say easy, but if you look at real life and look at the qualifying times, you could see like the pace differences.
Egg goes 4th fastest right there in the Haas.
Beautiful.
And
there it is.
I saw that coming as soon as he ended up going purple in the 2nd sector right there. He deployed his overtake at the perfect time. ERS is going to be so critical on these laps that we watch from drivers that they end up doing. We'll watch a lot of the drivers going for pole right now. JTK has Dill JG right up in front of him. Let's see if Dill JG gets in the way or gets out of the way here. JTK currently 2nd fastest of our drivers right now. Dill JG is prepping to start a lap, whereas JTK is coming through the section, and he's actually starting a lap. He's not on a lap just yet, so these guys might get caught in the way of each other as they start a lap. 4.5 minutes remaining in the session, Lando, but this field is quite spread out until you get to about 4th place, and then it starts getting quite close around there as we go on board with Dill JG.
Yeah, it's getting crucial now as we watch the Ferrari just pounding his way through the Senna S. Very nice. He touched the grass on the entrance, but I don't think that affected him as he's motoring his way down in the Scuderia. Let's see, he's 8 1,000ths up on his time in Sector 1. He had a little wash on the front end, and he's on a little off. That might just be the camera angle, but here he goes through my favorite section right here. Just slingshots around there. Keeps it nice and pinned. Almost over the track limits. properly sending it now. All over the curb, a little oversteer there, a little sliding off that Ferrari, but it's looking good. It's looking good, but how good is it? Into the final sections of the track. Now this is the most crucial part of the track as the Mercedes is ramping up for a lap. Could he get a slipstream? Has the Ferrari managed to get a huge toe? I think he has. Blasting the overtake button. This could be a stonking lap with the toe of the Mercedes. Overtake on all the power in the world on the Scuderia to the line. He's going to go fourth, purple in the third sector. Only improved by a 10th.
I'm surprised it was only a 10th from the Ferrari driver right there. We're going on board Wavy Knife now, who's going through the first 3 corners of Senna S, and he'll pick up a slight slipstream from the Red Bull coming out of the pit lane. That is Blue Goggy, one of Wavy's rivals, and Goggy is about to get in the way of Wavy, and Wavy goes off track, and these two just seem to can't get away from each other once again.
Goggy knows better. And okay, well, I don't support that. Just drive on. Just go. Just keep going. It's not worth it. But Goggy should have known that he was
only
coming
a minor
up.
block, to be fair. Was
It's
a
a
block.
minor block, and a block's a block. Though. If I was Goggy, you need to be aware of all these situations. And obviously, Wavy very frustrated, but that was, a little immature from the Merc. But he's gonna ramp up for another lap, and he's all over the Red Bull. Don't know what that's all about, but he's really just screwing himself, unless he's gonna possibly screw the both of them here. As they go up into turn 1, here we go. Down the straightaway, side by side, I think we all know what's gonna happen. Verstappen, Hamilton, Goggy, Wavy, into turn 1, and oh yeah, there it is. Way to go, Wavy. Way to go. Last act.
You could just see that coming with these two who cannot get away from each other once again. I'm sure that'll be a big storyline for the season. Goggy potentially getting a full-time Red Bull spot over Ardell. He already has a V-carb spot for this season, and Wavy going up to the Mercedes once again, but them two getting each other's way before we start the final laps. And they're going to do it again, and they've come together! Oh, big shunt from the both! And Wavy's got a 5 place for it.
I don't care if it's preseason. That is the most chicken, you-know-what move. It's a 5-year-old playing with Hot Wheels. It's immature from both of them.
I don't
Just
put
get
that
on
one.
with it. It's qualifying.
I don't put that on 1. If you're Goggy, I get you're frustrated with him, but just, you had a chance to get out of the way into 4 when you started coming out of the pit lane, and you didn't do so. You stayed in front of him the entire time, and it's for Wavy's sake. You don't have to come alongside him on another lap and just get next to him and taunt him like that. And you already taunted him when he got in your way on your lap into turn 6. You don't have to do it for a second time. We got final laps, though, about to get underway, and we should really watch this before we talk about them two getting at each other's throats again. Tadpole is on a lap. I think someone just improved. That was Jack Miles again, maybe.
He's fine at Visa. Goggy's retired from the session after just the most immature 3 minutes of Formula 1 24 action. But, nonetheless, we have some final laps to get through. We're watching Tadpole through the middle sector. The floor getting absolutely destroyed. Obviously, that's a visual thing, but look at him just pushing the Ferrari. Look how look how much confidence he has in this Ferrari. He's just sailing it through. There's no hesitation. Nice and easy onto the curb. Into the final sections of this track. Is he going to take a little bit of a wide line, or is he going to hook it right on the curb? Oh, you know he's going to hook it on that curb a little bit. And it's a 10th up, and it's a purple sector. Now, all he's got to do is hold that button, open the DRS, cut the pit lane, and we'll see how much he improves. Here comes the Ferrari. Is he going to make the Tifosi proud? Of course he is.
Kentucky was improving as well and couldn't do it. JTK didn't improve, and I think that might be it.
Egg is on a lap, and he's 86 thousandths down. He's purple in the middle sector. Is Haas going to have a miracle in Sao Paulo? He's pushing it. Absolutely sending it Nico Hulkenberg style. Through the pit lane entrance, up to the line. Is he going to improve it?
Nope.
Just by a little bit, but it's still a P5. Round of applause for the Haas driver.
Wow. Tadpole, the Season 7 Tier 2 champion, has finally found his foot in this game. He's going to be on pole position for the Tier 2 preseason event in Brazil. But now the question has to be raised, is he going to be the one to put the fight to JTK this season for the championship? Like we expected, 3 different teams inside the top 3, but not the 3 teams we expected. We expected Ferrari and Red Bull. We did not expect Mercedes to be up there at Mentaki. Mentaki's really adapted to this handling quite well both times and been up there in all the events that she's partaked in so far. You got Dill JG 4th, Eggles in 5th for Haas, then Jack Miles. Wavy has a grip penalty, out-qualified Gagi though. And Kipu and SV for Alpine, who are up there to say the least. That's good performances from them. But I think definitely a questionable session from Redfire Tiger, who's at the back there on the Aston.
Yeah, both Williams riding out the bottom of the grid there. It didn't look like they just got the laps in. And well, now they got 36 laps. And I think now we're really going to see what cars are going to come alive in the race. There's race cars and we got quali cars. But I will say, that top 3, very surprising. Now, could be aided that there is no McLarens in this race, but nonetheless, that is a great performance by the Mercedes to put that car on the second row of the grid in 3rd. What's going to happen?
And ahead of Wavy by quite a good measure.
And Wavy is actually going to be starting 12th in this race. He has the 5th place for his games with Gagi.
Games with Gagi, I like that.
It's just immature at this point. It's just 2 5-year-olds playing with Hot Wheels.
Yeah, he said Gagi blocked me, so I blocked him. I understand that, but it's not NASCAR. With Red Fire's lap, by the way, I mentioned him being a bit of a disappointment. He said he was going to be second fastest if he didn't make the mistake or invalidate that he did. That's quite incredible if he could have done that, but a lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda from drivers. But Senna S, we always see trouble there. Can they behave themselves on lap 1 as we have no formation lap?
I hope everyone behaves themselves because I don't think in any of the preseason races that I've seen, at least, we haven't made it through turn 1 without an accident. But Brazil, it's an interesting turn 1. You know, you can go 3 wide. Are you going to get granted room? That's up for debate. But I think what we're all hoping is for a nice, action-packed, no-game 36-lap race around here. Because this track, I hate it. Because I think it's overrated in league racing. Oh my god, we gotta have it as the championship race. But could this race change my mind? Will we have action? Obviously. But I hope to see some side-by-side, corner-by-corner action. Now, you know what time it is.
It's time for the 5 red lights, and the 5 red lights are out, and away we go for Tier 2 preseason around Sao Paulo. Wheel spin from about the top 5 cars. Jack Miles ducking out. Mentaki losing a place. Dill JG, the big winner, already going side by side, and his teammates been caught out. JTK with a monstrous start. Already a second lead. And you saw Eggles go a bit wide at turn 3. They got to the Senes, okay. Now, down to turn 4, sector 2 time. Both Ferraris go side by side. Mentaki gets forced up, and a bit of damage for the Bullard being destroyed. That's carbon fiber, I think, going in the air from one car, but Jack Miles threw up into 3rd. And he's been overtaken.
It's getting real touring car action here in Brazil, but everyone's keeping it clean. No accident in the turn 1.
Oh!
But how about Jack Miles? Wow, car just slingshotting it. But how about Jack Miles in the Visa RB up to P4? Challenging the Ferrari. Oh, the Ferrari's gone off. Through goes Jack up into the podium places here in Sao Paulo.
Blue Gagi was one who also hit trouble. That's why I was screaming, oh, at turn number 7 right there. And Red Fire's got a 10-second corner cutting, and there goes SV. SV's been hit, and now he's around.
No! But how about the lead? JTK over Temple, over Miles, over Mitoki, Dylan Eggs. Red Fire Tiger's got a 10-second for gaining a place off track. Kipu, Gagi, and Williams round out the top 10. Wavy not far behind.
Yep, let's see who's gained the most spots. We've had Red Fire up 6 places. Obviously, one of those you got a corner cutting thing for. 3 for Jack, and now Jack on the move. Down the inside, up into 2nd place.
Look at him go. He's absolutely flying in the Visa RV. Now, he needs to pull away, because now this is the scary thing. JTK has this race under his control. Almost 2 seconds in the middle sector. It's up to Jack. Can he find 9/10 on JTK to get back into that 1-second DRS range? Remember, DRS is now enabled. So this race is even more critical to get up there because Jack could be under attack here coming up into turn 1. But he is gaining a lot of time on Tadpole, who's on the hard tires. Let's keep in mind that. but the hard tire is not really clicking right now.
Born in Shanghai is off. He's had an issue, and he's back on track. He was the cause of the yellow flags right there, but Lando, I'm very surprised that Tadpole bogged down so much and lost the race lead as much as he did. Jack Miles already taking the fastest lap, and Red Fire Tiger wants another place. He's going to take the edge over Eggles right there. He's the only one so far in this race with a penalty. We have hard runners, Tadpole, Goggy, and Shanghai, but on the softs is Red Fire. That's definitely why he's had a great start, say nonetheless.
Yeah, Tadpole just had maybe just a mediocre start, and also just starting on the hard tire might have not been the best option, but he is looking to go long. But right now, it's all JTK up front, although the gap has gone down by 2/10, so Jack is getting on with it, but how much battery is he going to have to use to get up there? And the matter is, what can he do?
Saw a lot of moving around for third place between Tadpole and Mentaki. Mentaki, the second female driver to take a Tier 2 podium just last season back in Bahrain. I wonder if she can maybe become the first female driver to win in Tier 2 thus far. Red Fire Tiger is on the move as well once again. He's going left to right, weaving and bobbing, and now just trying to find the place over Dill JG, and just can't do it right now. But you mentioned the lead just moments ago. 1.7, now down to 1.5. Incredible stuff from Jack Miles thus far.
Yeah, and if I'm in Tokyo right now, I'd probably be thinking, if I were her, to maybe get by the Ferrari. The Ferrari is losing a lot of time in the middle sector. It was 8/10 when we crossed the line before, but now it's back down to 2/10 thanks to DRS. If I'm in Tokyo, if I'm given the chance, I think I should go for it. The hard tire is not clicking in the middle sector. I don't think it's worth staying behind the Ferrari. I think you gotta go.
As you may notice, drivers hit a bump there, and you see debris go in the air. That is no surprise. There, that's a slide. Was that Red Fire?
Yeah, that was Red Fire. He was drifting into that corner. I don't know if the Haas gave him a little bit of a bump, but Al kept it.
I don't know how he did. I really don't know. I thought he was going fully around right there. And usually, if this was the previous handling model, maybe you could say he was going fully around right there, Red Fire.
He's absolutely sending it. He's the only car that started on the soft tire, so it is game on for him. Is he going for a two-stopper? His race is, I wouldn't say prematurely over yet. There's still a long way to go, but they're shuffling in the midfield. Kibu looking on a move on it. He's going to dive at the inside. All the racing room and respect. It's done. Here comes Aston Martin and Red Fire. They're going to be side by side. The Alpine clears them down into turn 4. Is there going to be attack? Meanwhile, up front, Toki's looking for a pass on the Ferrari. Can't do it.
A lot of weaving and bobbing on that straight. Everyone trying to pick their line. You can notice that Egg ended up gaining a little bit of time there at the end of turn 5 right there. Retirement in the pit lane. It's Born in Shanghai. He's the first one we lose from this race, but the gap for the lead, 1.9 now in this race, while Red Fire picks up a track limit penalty. That is not good toward his race, and, you know, Kipu, I have to say, maybe one of the drivers to be impressed with this season. He was in Alpine last season. That car was a lot better. He's running where he was about last season, though. 7th, 8th place once again. In a worse car, too.
Red Fire Tiger, he is really starting to drop off the pace as William now with the 3-second time penalties. As here we go, Goggy's looking for a move on Red Fire. He's going to maybe complete it before we get to the DRS. Yes, and the Red Fire doesn't have DRS, so it's an easy pass for Goggy. As there's a little bit of shuffling up front, I believe there's a battle for second.
Tadpole had a little snap on the rear. You could just see how unhappy it was into turn 1. And Mr. Speedy has had something happen to him. A 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's out of this race. Now Jack Miles is defending for his life, going to the inside line, trying to have Tadpole go the long way around, and he just gets cut off by Jack. While that's happened, you can see the Williams off in the background. That's the retired car. Both of them out now. Mentaki was looking for a move. Couldn't get that done. But she's at least putting the pressure on Tadpole here to get a move on.
Yeah, that move around the outside of turn 4 is never going to work. If you're the driver on the inside, just give him a nice little shove off. But Mentoki really starting to rile up some pressure on Tadpole. I think everyone needs to know now that the Visa RB of Jack, I believe, is starting to fade away just a little bit now. Not much, but the gap is certainly starting to go up again.
2.0 now. Maybe just under a second as they get to the detection point. No, still just above a second right there. Remember, You need under a second to be within DRS by the detection point, and it's enabled on lap 2 this year. While that's happening, Tadpole used the DRS, Sobel Mentoki trying to get through on Jack Miles, can't go through. Red Fire is into the pit lane, and Speed's there. That's his third different penalty for a third different thing so far in this race. But the battle for P2 is now heating up. Jack Miles is getting pressure for P3. Mentoki has the inside line, but can't go through, and Dil JG pressurizing her in the background.
Yeah, another penalty to give out for Fire Tiger. Just absolutely just hauling these penalties down like a cup of soda. He's coming back out on track. He hasn't retired, which good on him. You know, complete every lap. That's, I think, the goal of these preseason races. To come out of the pit lane on the medium tire, but obviously in no man's land, just behind the Alpine Abyss.
Jack Miles, what's happened to him? He's off. He has
He's
maybe
spun.
hit the
He's
grass at that corner
no.
and been sent around. That's the way his car looks like it's spun around. I don't know if he got tagged by anybody, but the way his car was facing definitely looks like a driver error right there.
Unfortunate. Such a promising start for the Visa RB of Jack, and it just faded away. But he's not done yet. He's still got a chance. There's plenty of laps, plenty of opportunities. So he's just got to get his hammer down and just send it. He's got the pace to be up there, so it's just a matter of getting through these cars now one by one. Now the question is, can Tadpole get up to the Red Bull? Have those hard tires finally started to cook up? Can he start gaining on some Red Bull?
Everyone always makes the Eric's on, Eric's off joke, but Jack just became Jack off right there, going off the circuit, and it was very unfortunate for him. We've heard that joke quite a bit, and we'll probably not hear the end of it, because I had used that once in a Formula Endurance race just last game. Yeah, you got only lap 8 of this race, though, to be fair, Lando, and I think the interesting thing is that a lot of time to recover your way through. He's not completely down and out of it. He's only down in 10th, and realistically, that's pretty much nowhere, but he's only 9 seconds behind the pack for second place right here, and considering Jack Miles' pace so far in this race, I'm sure he can easily make it up.
Oh yeah, he can easily make it up. It's just a matter of keeping a calm, steady head, as Mentoki had a nice little power slide off the final corner, so any attack run that she wanted to do won't happen in the turn 1. But you're just looking at the battery levels. Mentoki on 35%. And just a lot of the field here, just chilling. I mean, look at the leader, just 80%. He's just in cruise control. He's just having fun. But how about the gap? It's just gone down half a second.
Yeah, is JTK
It's
maybe
cracking.
feeling the tire wear? Is he not pushing as much? What's happening with him right now? And just a question, and maybe something I'm observing here as Red Fire takes a fast lap and takes another place. Does Brazil kind of feel, I don't know if it's maybe the time of day, but does Brazil feel a little bit brighter and lighter this game?
I do think it's a little bigger. I think it does feel weird. I did one lap in the afternoon, and the track did look pretty vaguely different. It looks like it's the morning over here in Sao Paulo.
Right.
But whether or not that's affecting the track condition, who knows? But Tadpole is getting along with it. He's 1.4 out. But again, JTK, if there's any advantage he has, he's using it right now. It's that battery. He had 85% to start that lap, and now he's down to 50. He's definitely got a battery advantage. Whether or not he's just playing games now, that is the question.
I've checked the gap with Jack in the race leader, and it stayed about as consistent as it could be, but for the gap with him in second place, it's not really about the same. It's kind of worsened itself, and SV has ran into more trouble. He's a round down at turn 12, but my controller batteries are low. We don't have any battling right now, so I'm going to do myself a favor and switch it while I can.
I'll pick it off on what Ryan said. A lot of choo-choo trading right now, but these are what these F1 races are about. But Egan P5 and a Haas is doing a great job. The Alpine sticking in the DRS train of beast. Kipper's doing a grand old job in the Alpine. Cannot be said for his teammate right now in 13th. He's had a couple of minor incidents and he's spun or something's happened. But we're watching the Mercedes. He's gaining all the time on the straightaway. But crucially, Tadpole is now in the DRS detection point of JTK. Is JTK backing up? Does JTK know something that we don't? We're going to look at Tadpole. The flap is open. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We now have the leader connected to this train. Now, what can Tadpole do? What do you do when you get up to the Red Bull? Do you overtake? Do you just save? What do you do? He's on none, harvesting all the battery in the world. Look at him slide through the middle sector as FBL hits a 3-second for corner cutting. Unfortunate by him, and everybody just flashing, harvesting all the energy, getting ready for the summit down in the turn 1 in a couple corners time. Look at how much Tadpole is just on the back end of the Red Bull. JTK slowing up, but look at the battery life on that Red Bull. Unbelievable.
I really wonder, to your point, Lando, you said, does he know something we don't? Does JTK know where his teammate's at? He's the only one not in Steer's train inside the top 7. He's 3.1 back. Will these guys battle? And it catches Bulgogi up. We'll find out. His academy teammate for tonight. Tadpole has a look, but doesn't go for it.
Got a nice half look into turn 1, into turn 2, and turn 3. He's a little off-center. Matoki might have a shot at this, but Tadpole is using the battery. He's turned it off. He's just waiting for another attack run, but almost could have been for Matoki another opportunity to maybe claim that second place. But now you're in the DRS of the leader. Do you just have to sit now and wait? Because I honestly think you have to now. You're risking too much now. As Dylan in the other Ferrari, 3-second time penalty. It's all popping off as we have Mercedes around that's Wavy.
Wavy Knife encountering more trouble. I have to give fair props as well to Kipu. Kipu in the Alpine, one of the horrible cars. I mean, you're right behind a tier 1 driver of Egg right there, who's had great pace thus far this game, to say the least, and he's right up there in the thick of things, Kipu, in a car that's similar to the Haas and not really should be in this fight. You were saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Alpine is making miracles, and I was going to say you should be thanking Egg, because Egg had a crazy slide, but here comes Tadpole to the lead, the Scuderia goes. And now Matoki looking on the Red Bull. What's the Red Bull going to do in the 4? Is he going to fight back? Does he have to fight back? That's the question. He's a racing driver. Of course he's going to fight back, right?
Well, we'll find out with Dill JG now for 3rd place as well, right on the back of Mintaki, but it's just like F1 2019, where the top 3 teams are right here once again. And you know what? They've got quite the talented drivers up here in their cars. Mintaki, JTK, Tadpole. Dill JG's up there in the 2nd Ferrari, but of course, he has the track limit penalty, and Wavy Knife, not what he would have wanted out of this race.
Yeah, unfortunate. I understand that, things might not go your way, but you just gotta keep on racing, you never know what's gonna happen in these races. As wow, it is getting feisty now, but JTK is, I don't know what's going on, but he's definitely losing.
Well, I saw Dill JG run wide there at the braking zone where Albon and Hamilton took each other out before.
We have yellow flags everywhere. Sector 2.
FBL.
Green.
It was around there. That's what I saw.
I wonder
It's still close for the lead, though.
Oh, absolutely. I think JTK is. He might be doing what I used to do, where you just back up enough and try to go for one huge slipstream. As yellow flags are going to be out in turn 4 for the Mercedes, maybe. Obviously, there won't be any overtaking either way. Not that anyone's close enough, but back to green flag sectors. And now, as the floor of the Red Bull gets destroyed, thank you, Texture. But yeah, now Tadpole on the hard tire is really starting to light up the performance of the Ferrari.
Ferrari, obviously, fixing their tire wear this game quite a bit. That's fair to say from what we've seen so far. Kipu has fallen behind this train quite massively. He's 3.2 back. He was just about 1.1 back not too long ago.
Yeah, I think now we're starting to see maybe the properties of some drivers pushing the tires over the limit, maybe. There is that thing now in this game where people are going off as Dylan goes off in the final corner, side by side down the front stretch. Egg is looking for P4. He's going to get P4. How about this for the Haas driver? Making the back markers proud.
Well, Haas have had Tier 2 podiums before, Orlando. They've only had 5 to their name in the RPL Tier 2 history. But Jack Miles gets the Haas driver of FBL right there. So a Haas overtakes one, and a Haas gets overtaken on one.
Unbelievable scenes here at Sao Paulo, but now Egg's job is to get 3/10 out of it as FPL's had another incident in the final corner. That seems to be a trouble spot. I've seen the Alpine spin a couple times there, and now we have the Haas going through Spain.
Maybe F122 with the traction in that corner, maybe from what we're seeing thus far. Dill JG is in DRS, still of Egg, who's fallen out of DRS from the front three. They've kind of pulled away. Two friends right here. As of recent, Kippu and Bulgogi, they've kind of talked with each other a lot more. They used to be a part of the same academy at one point, but right now they're racing it up for 6th place. Bulgogi closing in, Kippu losing a bit of time to Dylan and Egg right there. But, like we mentioned, the front three is still close, and the battery's not that much different from these guys, all around 30 to 50% right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kippu, who was just in that DRS train just a couple of laps ago, has really fallen off the pace as he's going to come in the box. As also Dylan's in the box. Here we go. People are striking. What tire is the Ferrari going to go on? We're looking now. He's going onto the hard tire. Hards for the Ferrari. Kippu in the box. He's going onto a nice shiny set of the white compound hard tires, and off he goes. Has this triggered now everyone to pit? Although I don't think Dylan was part of this 5-car train after that little power slide, but nonetheless, we could see how the undercut performs here at Sao Paulo.
He wasn't far away from it, to say the least, though. After his mistake, he was right within striking distance of Egg, but now side-by-side action out of the pit lane. Dill JG will get the place over Red Fire Tiger. That's some tight action between the pair of them.
Yeah.
But I just, while this battling is kind of tamed itself down a little bit, I want to go over what the car performance is like now since the update. In order, this is what it shows. We'll see if there's anything that's different. It is Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Aston, then V-Carb, then I believe it's Alpine, Haas,
Oh no.
then Williams, and Egg. That is not good for
No.
him speeding in the pit
Oh
lane.
no!
And then, obviously, the slowest being Kick Sauber. But yeah, so unfortunate for Egg. Now for our race lead, JTK boosting past, down to the grass, and through.
What a move by the Red Bull. Fair squeeze, kept it within the white lines. JTK back to the point of the lead. Now, when do you pit? As Jack Miles sets the fastest lap in the V-Carb. 109.6, that's what everyone's chasing.
This is insane. A big slide.
Power
Our race
sliding.
leader
Oh, the Ferrari
as his
power slide.
teammate picks up a penalty.
Oh, this is crazy. It's almost like when one driver has something, their teammate has an unfortunate circumstance. Red Bull or one Forgagi who, just like you said, picked up a penalty for the track limits. Ferrari, Dylan with a horrible slide, it's kicked him out of the DRS zone, but he has pitted. We'll see where he shapes up. But here we go, down the main straight. Is anybody thinking of pitting? Yes, we have the Red Bull of JTK now. Where is Dylan located on the track? Is he still ahead of the Aston Martin? Yes, he is, comfortably.
So glad they didn't collide into the pit lane right there. I thought maybe if Tadpole went on maybe the left side of JTK right there, or vice versa, that there may have been a collision right there, but we're lucky that there wasn't, and we're lucky there's still a battle for the race lead. Mentaki is closing, but not close enough. JTK's exiting the pits now. We got a battle on the main straight. Egg is wheel-to-wheel Red Fire and just cuts him off right there while he sets a purple sector 3. So Egg's going fast. Dill JG's going fast, but not fast enough to beat JTK out of the pit lane. However, he's just outside of DRS. That's exactly what he needed, considering JTK and Tadpole were the 1-2 guys in this race.
Yeah, now if I'm the top two, I'm looking at boxing, because now there's cold tires too. The Red Bull really needs to hook up these hard tires quickly. 1.4 is the gap. That can be easily gained in this middle sector. We'll see Dylan's time as we look back up front. Matoki, I think, just had another slide off the final corner. Is she thinking about coming in? I think so too. That gap is closing between them and Dylan. Matoki is going to pit the Ferrari's going to stay out. Tadpole on the hard tire. Not really a surprise, but now, is he going to have to do the hard work later on to re-overtake?
We'll see if she can be able to be around the JTK Dill JG area when she comes out. But right now, Dill JG has Some pressure from Egg. He's very vulnerable, and he's vulnerable enough to be overtaken right there. Dill JG back down to 6th. Egg up into 5th. But Mentoki is exiting the pit lane now. She might be side by side with Egg on the pit exit. This is going to be
really
very
close.
tight between the two. I think Egg will be ahead, but Mentoki might be just behind Dill JG. We'll find out right here behind.
Yes, absolutely. Here we go, Dylan around the outside of turn 4. He's going to get the move done. Nicely done by him. Oh, he's gone off. But now I'll go from good job to a half-decent job. He's gone off the track. But nonetheless, overtake done. Now, what kind of game do you play? Oh, wow! He saved it! Now, do you try to do what I was talking about earlier, a couple weeks ago? Do you try to do the DRS slingshot? Do you just have one car go ahead and then do it to the next car? Try to close the gap. We haven't seen it pay off yet. I don't think it's been done ever. At Temple! Oh my goodness me! It's gone off. He's gone. Sped into the pit lane. What tire compound has he gone on? It's the medium compound. But now that could possibly be his race over. As we're watching JTK down in the turn 1. There's the Ferrari. It's going to be close. It might not be close. As JTK is going to take the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Tadpole almost hit the wall off a pit exit. Here comes Egg. This could get tight. Into turn 4, inside versus outside. Egg choosing the inside. That's the job done. Dylan trying to get the switch back. Can't be done.
Tadpole, although he has the 10-second time penalty, I'm really wondering here, although Egg and Dill JG have penalties, can they get clawed up to JTK if, for some odd reason, Tadpole can pull off some masterclass with his pace and bring those Ferrari Academy cars up with him? And you got Mentoki as well, who has no penalties as well. She's doing a great job with that once again, but very costly speeding penalties for the likes of Egg and Tadpole. You could add Red Fire into that mix. He's technically served a 10-second time penalty, and, well, he's up into 6th right now in this race.
Yeah, this is big. Egg has DRS on Tadpole. Tadpole has DRS on JTK, so we will get this 5-car train back up and running here very quickly. Now, if you're Tadpole, I think you got to strike. You got 10 seconds of penalties. You have fresher tires. You might have the better car over round and round. When do you choose to attack? Or are you going to wait? He opens the flap. I think he's just going to wait until the next straightaway. And he's going to do that. We're just going to wait until the DRS on the front stretch.
Mentoki and Dill JG waiting in the wings of Egg, by the way, Lando. This is a battle right behind these guys. If anything happens to this top 2, they're right in the equation as well. And Red Fire Tiger just pitted right there for a new set of mediums, going on to a 2-stop, like you mentioned, a possibility of him doing. But I will say, this is very interesting with the way this race is going, because this is our first time under the new handling model as we're past halfway. A lot of these drivers learning what they can and can't do, and we've seen a lot of snaps from the rear already.
Yeah, it's looking quite feisty on the rear end of these Formula 1 powered machines. Here they go. Tadpole's going to go the long way around. This should be a one-and-done move. The Ferrari back up to the lead. The Tifosi here in Brazil are probably screaming, if there is any Tifosi fans in the chat. But Tadpole back in the lead of the Brazilian Grand Prix, but keep in mind, at the end of 36 laps, we will have that 10 seconds added as Blue Goggy in the Red Bull set the new fastest lap as Dylan and Egg going at it again.
I saw Dill JJ go a little too deep there into turn 1, and I knew he was going to be vulnerable for turn 4, and he was, and Mentoki picks up her first track limit penalty. That is so unfortunate for the Korean.
So costly, too. Could have been an easy podium, but now her job is now to fully Danny Rick, just style race it. Just send it now. You have 3 seconds to your name. You can no longer be patient and just let this happen. You need to go as we have FBL. I don't know what's going on with him. He's having an absolute stinker of a Grand Prix right now.
Maybe he's going to give the teammate DRS here. Maybe. That's the only thing I could think, though, for FBL right here, backing off in the way that he did. Remember, that Haas and Ferrari do look quite similar. You think that... Oh, he is pitting, so never mind. But you think that Haas was a Ferrari right there, so... Interesting stuff as we watch these guys battle once again. Will we see 3 across in the main straight? We might!
Oh, almost 3 wide. Mentoki thinks better of it. Down the inside goes Dylan. He's overshot it again. Is Ed going to have a fight back? I think he is. He's just right there. What's Mentoki thinking? 3 wide? Gonna be a hero? Let's find out. Down the straightaway into turn 4. The Haas clears it easily. And Egg back up into the podium places.
Although he did overshoot it just a little bit, to your point, Lando, I'm still amazed that he could make the corner the way he did and brake just so late right there as FBL. As he pitted, he's now a lap down. He's onto a set of softs right here. And we mentioned at the very start of the stream, SV having 8 out of 9 races with a retirement. So far, 2/3 of the way into this race, still in at 11th place, and it may not be all over for him just yet either. Just a reminder to folks as well, we got our social medias as well to look on for some events this weekend. We got preseason tomorrow for F2 and F1. We've also got 8 different RPL drivers taking part in the 24-hour Le Mans. But right now, I think Kentucky wants to take part in taking 4th place away from these Ferrari Academy drivers. Will we see 3 wide? Oh, it's going to be so dicey into 1!
Into turn 1, what a move! He's gonna do it again. Is Ed gonna have another fight back? I assume he's gonna, but how about Kentucky looking feisty now in the Mercedes? He's got the confidence. Look at Egg already to the alongside. Down in the turn 4, the Ferrari tries to squeeze him. It's no use. But how about Kippu? Kippu has gained back on the Goggy, and Jack Miles also on the back end. So there is another fight going on in the background. Red Fire, fastest lap of the Grand Prix.
Blue Goggy in this Red Bull, you'd expect him to be up there a little bit more in that car. Everybody just struggling to get it down there into turn 7, by the way. But where Red Bull is at, there's a lot more cars closer to them, so the skill gap is a bit more different in terms of, I guess, the way certain tracks like Brazil, Portugal, Austria, all will be. In terms of racing in this game, you'll see the Red Bull guys be a bit more vulnerable, but it's still a big talking point how far JTK and Goggy are apart right here. Invade will cover who the 8 drivers are taking part tomorrow in Le Mans on iRacing. But right now, Dill JG has the momentum down the inside, through for now, and he can just brake so late and get that car stopped. I don't get it. How does he do it?
Just slides his way into there and bump drafting in F1. How about that into turn 4? Here we go again, round number, whatever you want to call it, squeezing to the inside. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult, maybe no. Egg, again, slides into the podium places again.
Blue Goggy also has Kippu and Jack Miles for company. You mentioned that just a bit ago. Blue Goggy, podium sitter last time out in Tier 2 Japan, has a penalty to his name. Kippu doesn't have a Tier 2 podium in his name. Jack Miles has a few championships to his name. And Red Fire has got just another penalty right there. And this battle for P3 is just so close once again. I think there was a mistake right there that happened earlier in the lap that closed these guys up. They're really vulnerable against one another again. But JTK, maybe, although he's using battery, trying to get his way back up into the race lead on Tadpole, at least on track. He knows he wants to do it on track, not just on the penalties. And blasting by, 3 abreast for just a split second. Dill JG and Mentaki both split Egg, the Tier 1 driver right there in this event. Jack Miles also into the pits right there. What tire will he go on now becomes the question. But once again, we've got racing meanwhile for P3. Mentaki wants it. Dill JG has it. She's on the attack around the outside and gets squeezed into the grass right there. SSR William out ahead of Jack Miles, who comes out of the pit lane. But Mentaki just got forced off right there. And she's going to still go around the outside for a risky move here at turn number 7. And she is through for now.
It's getting absolutely crazy. I just had to step aside to grab something to drink over this exciting racing. As here comes Matoki. Are we going to see a Sector 2 pass? No, we will not see it. As the Alpine has gone off. Oh my god, the Ferrari! Power sliding.
Tadpole does not get DRS from that. JTK doesn't either. But DRS battle once again for P3. It's just the 3-car gaggle right here for this position. 2 Ferrari Academy drivers versus a Mercedes. 3 abreast for a moment here. Who will be last and late on the brakes into 1.
Oh, Dylan just sends it to the inside and it's going to pay off. I don't know, it looked ghosted for a second there, but they all managed to get through very nicely. Unlike the Tier 3 race yesterday, we saw 3 wide, didn't work. This time it does work. Egg fighting back to the inside. He's going to clear the Ferrari once again. This is a great battle between the 3 of these drivers right here.
Egg into third place. SV gets a track limit penalty, 3 seconds to his name right there. I'm sure he's just trying to finish this race with the way things have gone for him. Trying to prove a bit for Tier 3 as he's full-time there. Egg full-time for Tier 1. And I think so far, besides Jack, of course, had the off earlier on in this event. Egg has definitely been, in terms of where he's running now, and throughout the whole event, has been the most impressive one. He's surely one we'll watch out for during this Tier 1 season upcoming.
Yeah, Egg is my driver of the day so far, but while these three drivers have been squandering, as Mintoki's going to go for a move here on the Ferrari, Goggy is slowly closing into these guys. We could have a 4-car battle by the end of this Grand Prix, as Mintoki's going to go down the inside of Dylan and up into P3.
Mintoki's going to be one of
Egg
this time. Yes. A two-stop. Interesting. Was he locking up too much? I'm not sure. Mintoki, though, had the confidence on the brakes into 1. Dill JG going ahead has the confidence on the brakes going into 4.
Jack Miles at the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the soft compounded tire now, 109 flat. That's the time when people are trying to find. How about the Ferrari and Dylan power sliding through the middle sector? It's getting really feisty now between these two, and Goggy's just sniffing the air, getting ready for his attack run. Hopefully it's clean.
Right on the back of the Ferrari, a little bit of mind games right here, seeing who will pull out, seeing who will give up, what will happen right there. Put Blue Goggy into the mix right here for this position. He's not out of this fight at all, and he's actually closed up quite a bit.
Oh, that is a really sad track limit penalty for Mintoki. She's gonna go down the inside of Dylan into turn 1. Clears them. Now, what's Dylan going to do? Is he just going to do the same old trick? And how about Goggy? He's smelling the air. He's going to get the double slipstream effect. Is Goggy going to try to be a hero into turn 4? I don't think so. Here comes Dylan the long way around turn 4. We've seen this happen a couple times. He's going to do it again. And clear he goes, but not by much this time.
Further on back, meanwhile, Red Fire Tiger is in DRS pursuit of Jack Miles, who he's got more ERS than Jack and Red Fire, both on hot lap right there. Oh, Mintoki up right close to Dill JG. What happened there?
I think there was just a nice little slide, and Mintoki couldn't have been the overtake of the day. She managed to get that Mercedes ahead. But we're rounding up for another attack. Raffaello in second 3. I don't know what that was on about, but here we go. Climbing up the hill. We're gaining battery. We're gaining all the energy. We're gaining speed. Mintoki gaining on the Ferrari. Side by side with the Ferrari. Pushing ever so forward. The Mercedes DRS not really as effective as I thought. Goggy's going to go around the outside of Dylan. Could it be a 2-for-1? Goggy's still trying. He's going to have to slot back in. Now we're on board with the Ferrari and Dylan. He's gaining all the time. He's a racing driver. He knows how to go for gaps. Is he close enough to make this gap work? Here he comes. He's gaining, really gaining to the inside into turn 4. What a move by the Ferrari. But the
he went too deep.
Go on, Mintoki.
That
what a move.
Has allowed Mintoki to go through. You're right. What a move from her right there to pull that off. Red Fire still in DRS pursuit, but can't get through. And Dill JG continues to wiggle and wobble through towards 7 once again right there. Just having a bit of issue getting it stopped into that corner. And it's allowed Blue Goggy to close up. And he's all over the back of the British driver right here. Incredible stuff right here for P3.
Beautiful switchback by Mintoki. And I think the Ferrari of Dylan, 14 laps on the hard tires is FPL. Another penalty added to his name. Yellow flag in Sector 2, that's probably him. But nonetheless, here we go. Another attack run. How about this, folks? We're going to give you more action. Here comes the Ferrari gaining. He doesn't have the battery. He does not have the battery, but he's got the DRS. He's got the confidence. Under braking Dylan to the podium again. But Mintoki's going to try to hold it. Oh, that would have been. Here comes Goggy to go around the right side of the Mercedes. Can't get it done. He's going to switch to the left. We're getting the cha-cha slide now into turn 4. Round the outside. Can Mintoki do it? Dylan throws it in. Great defense by the Ferrari driver. Does Mintoki have an answer? Is she going to go for it? She's a racing driver. She's going to go for it. No, she isn't. Oh, come on, man. Oh,
Whoa!
but
Still a big slide
Oh, man.
from Dill JG. JG and SSR William, while that was happening, just got shunted off right there from Red Fire. 2 and 1 right there. He went from 7th to 9th, and FBL, another retirement from this race. He's out of it. He's the 4th different driver to DNF and the first non-Merc Academy car. Mentoki, Gagi, Dill, JG. Just put a blanket under these 3. It's incredible action right here for 3rd place, and it's still not done. Mentoki is turning on the battery, and she's going to go the long way around this time before turn 1. But remember, Lando, Dylan has a lot of confidence under the brakes, so will he be able to clap back at it down the inside?
He's going to send it. Oh, he's got it, but how about the switchback again? And she's going to hold it. She held it. Unbelievable. Gagi's going to try to go through the middle. Don't be a hero, Gagi. Let them race. Where's Gagi going to go?
Do it.
They're side by side.
Do
It's
it.
a drag race in the 4. The Ferraris and straight line speed going to prevail this time around.
Jack Miles holding on to 7th place, though, but for how much longer? You got Red Fire and SSR William for company. Both 2 full-time drivers behind this Tier 1 driver and past Tier 2 champion. Will they make the move into 4? No, they won't. Red Fire closes up. SSR William closes up, but not enough right there. This battling for P3, just so scintillating watching this. Dill JG going a bit defensive and wide right there just to hold on to the place. But you know he'll be vulnerable on the DRS straight with it.
Look behind real quick. We have the lap to Alpine of SV. Could he be trying to help Kipu get into this battle? He's only 2.5 seconds off. This could be immaculate if we get an Alpine on the podium. Kipu doesn't have penalties. This could be an Alpine podium if they keep squattering around. Here comes Mentoki down the inside on the main straight. Gagi's going to follow. Is Gagi going to try to make the move? He's going to go for it. Gagi down under Mentoki. He gets it stopped. He's going to try to switch her over. Down into turn 4. Mentoki could go from 3rd to 5th here in about 3 seconds. Gagi almost takes down the 3 abreast down the straight. Into turn 4 and through goes Dylan.
Whoa, way too deep, late on the brakes, way too wide, and he's going to lose both the places that he just gained from that.
He was a hero in turn 4, messed up in turn 5, and Gagi becomes the hero. Red Bull up into P3, but Kipu 1.7 off. This is getting really crucial for Kipu. He just needs a little more, just the slightest bit more, and he could be named a podium sitter in the one of the worst cars on the grid.
Keep in mind as well, Tadpole also has 13 seconds of penalty, so although he'll be winning this race on track, JTK will take it when the penalties do get applied. Mentoki with 6, Gagi and Dill JG with 3, and SV may have helped him a little bit because Kipu is up to 1.4 on the gap, but it's just going to happen once again. This time, Mentoki on the attack, Blue Gagi on the defense, Dill JG waiting in the background, sending it on both, late lunch, and he goes through for 3rd place in this race.
Kamui Kobayashi that, and he made it stick. Granted, a little messy on the exit, but what a move by the Ferrari, but is it going to cost him down into turn 4? Oh my god! Contact Gagi alongside, can he make it stick?
Can go through!
Contact. And how about this? Look who's here! Kipu!
Welcome to the fun! Welcome to the fun, Kipu! While that was happening, Lando, we had Red Fire and Jack trade places. But I don't think that fight's over. That's only between the pair of them because SSR Williams out of the train. And although we got one car out of the train back there, we got one car up to the train up here. Kipu's up to 6th. And in DRS pursuit, but Dill JG runs just a bit wide. And he'll have the battery turned on to try to stay in DRS of Gagi. But Gagi, he's going to be in control here of the podium place for right now.
Oh! The Ferrari's gone off. Dill's gone off. And through goes Kipu up in the P5 for Alpine. Mentoki doesn't have DRS on Gagi. Gagi's broken it. 1.1 is the gap. Back down to 9/10. Mentoki, this is crucial for her to get back into the DRS. I think she's done enough. We'll see. Yes, she has. But how about Kipu? You just smell the podium now. All he's got to do, keep a calm head. Keep it steady for 2 more laps. That's all you got to do.
You know Dill JG's confident on the brakes, and he almost runs in the back of him right there. That was so tight between the pair of them. I don't know how he got that stopped right there. Red Fire switches with Jack again, and he's up into 7th place. Right behind, Egg just picked up a penalty, but we have Tadpole into the final sector, about to start the final lap of this race. He'll win it on track by the looks of things, but he just needs to end up pulling a bigger gap than this if he wanted to win over JTK with the penalties applied. JTK's ran beautifully again. He'll win a second preseason event, but we've still got a lap left, and that's Mintoki around. Mintoki has binned it from 3rd place, or sorry, 4th place right there.
No, it's heartbreak. Oh, the outfit's gone off. Who is that? Oh, that's just the lap car. Never mind. Oh my.
Man, that would have been so big if it was Kippu.
Oh my god. But now that's breathing room for Doggy. But it won't matter. That 3-second has come back to bite him. One more lap around Sao Paulo as Tadpole's won! Tadpole's gone off! Through goes JTK!
Oh
my goodness me!
My word. And even Gagi or Kippu could still get 2nd place in this race.
This is unbelievable. Things have just gone awry as Red Fire and Jack going at it again into turn 4. Jack is gonna grab the spot. Nicely done there by the Visa RP. It's been a very nice recovery drive for him after that shocking sin. Still wanting to see what happened to him. But coming to the final corner,
This getting out of the way,
it's
by the way.
JTK. Coming to
Well,
the line.
JTK has definitely ran beautifully, Lando, and he won preseason last week. He was the vice champion of last season in Tier 2, but he's going to start it off once again by taking the checkered flag. JTK wins once again. Tadpole is 2nd on track. Gagi is 3rd on track. But Kippu has never had a Tier 2 podium, and although it's preseason, finally he can say some part of the heartbreak is over. Kippu gets 2nd place in an RPL Tier 2 race. Congrats to him. He'll share the podium with his good mate Blue Gagi right there, who hangs on for 3rd when the penalties get applied.
Unbelievable last 3 laps of that race. So much has happened, but it's JTK.
What a podium.
Absolute masterclass. I still want to know what happened to the Ferrari at Tadpole. Did he just spin it? Did he just loop it? What has happened? But a shout out to Kippu. We're in a nice quiet race. That's all you need to do. And look what it's done. A podium in an Alpine, in one of the worst cars I have ever seen in my life. But he's done it. He's made the French team very proud of doing it. What a job by him. He was in the right place at the right time.
Backwards.
What a race. What a great battle between Mintoki and Dylan and Egg and everybody in that midfield. What a great battle. But surely, Tadpole's got to be kicking himself. He had a 5.5-second lead. Just absolutely whipping it to the field. Only for him to lose it. Lando Norris style. Choking it.
Kippu finally can say that he's on the Tier 2 podium, and he does a backflip once again for good measure. I love that. I love that. He said he got the emote just for me so he can see my reaction to it. I'm very happy to see that. Celebrates, puts the trophy in the air. Kippu as well joins him up there. That's quite nice from the Alpine team, which is one of the worst cars in this game. Maybe we'll see a podium from them in Tier 2 this upcoming season. Here are your final results as well on screen. Only 3 drivers that finished this race were without a penalty. Jack Miles, as always, fastest lap for him. Kippu and JTK. Kippu really impressed me today because although it's only a preseason event, I think he's got a lot of potential for the season in a car that's even worse than the last time, and he's doing even better with it. A lot of pace in this game too, to say the least. Red Fire and Jack, we missed a photo finish of them. They came across the line 55 thousandths apart from each other.
Yeah, just an absolute unreal race. What a great battle by Dylan, Jack, Toki, Kippu, just everybody in that midfield. It's safe to say it was all JTK and Tadpole up front, but the battle for 3rd was just one of those battles that I've never seen in my life. It was clean for the most part. There were some questionable moves, but nonetheless, they got it done. I will say, if there's anybody to watch out for when it comes to overtaking and defending, it's got to be Dylan. I mean, that move, going 3 wide into turn 1 from that far back, absolutely Kobayashiing it. into turn one, making it stick. Unbelievable. I've never seen that on an F1 game.
I was really impressed with that, honestly. I was surprised it didn't end in a crash right there. There were so many times where there was so much battles where we were like, that's not a crash, really? Well, yeah, that's the kind of racing we're seeing so far. I think to our point though, I mean, I don't remember exactly the whole ERS difference, but it is quite scary at a track like this into 1 and into 4 when battling though with DRS and the ERS.
Oh, absolutely. And I think this was the perfect track to do it, to see it. This is a track that has a little bit of everything. It's got high speed, it's got slow speed, it's got dreaded hairpins that everybody loves. But now this kind of gives us maybe a little bit of what we're about to see with this ERS system. At tracks like China, what are we going to see there? Monza, Hungary. Who knows?
Vegas.
Vegas. Oh no. It's just a matter of how are these games going to be played and who can really topple it the best. I don't think there was a point in this race where, really, besides maybe the race started, JTK absolutely just flying it down. I don't know if it's going to be possible for you to really break out of the DRS chain unless there's a huge battle. And I think the game you're going to have to play is you have to force that second car to fight with the third car in the line. That way you can break away.
I think there will be tracks though where people do break away just because they're so good at a certain track, or they have the setup underneath them, or maybe the car is really good at certain tracks. You mentioned with me before maybe this being a 3-way fight, maybe it being a 5-way fight at certain tracks like these, but I think the thing that will separate guys like them, like JTK, in races like these is exactly what you said, the battling behind. I mentioned the setup. There's going to be places where there will be a dominant car at certain tracks, although it will still be close. Maybe the Red Bull at certain tracks will be 0.2 faster than the McLaren. Maybe the McLaren at one track will be 1/10 or 2 faster than the Red Bull, or even the Ferrari as well. We saw quite scintillating racing in today's event, and we got more to come. Tomorrow we have F2 in Bahrain. That will be an hour earlier than normal because we have Canadian Grand Prix qualifying interfering with Tier 1 preseason, so we're pushing everything an hour earlier tomorrow. So 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. British Standard Time. Technically the old time for F2 in terms of when things will be. They'll be in Bahrain for the preseason tomorrow. If for whatever reason we do start early with any tier, it may be F2 just because I've seen the calendar for it, which is one more race than the other tiers. But you have the other tiers such as Tier 2, Tier 1, Tier 3. I mean, Tier 1 always has a longer calendar than Tier 2 and Tier 3 and F2 do. But you have those tiers having technically one less race than F2 if you think about it. So if for whatever reason we don't start next week, I bet we start the week after and we start F2 a week earlier. We'll find out what happens. I'll have to talk to George, Luke, and Jack on that one, and I'll get an answer to you guys on that. But Tier 1, we mentioned that as well. That will be also tomorrow for preseason in Texas. That'll be an interesting track for the Battery 2 on the back straight, Lando, into turn 11. And even in 1.
A lot of straights at Circuit of the Americas. You know, you got the hairpin. It's going to be a lot of games played, I think. I do think, though, I don't think the popular overtaking spot's going to be down the back stretch. I think you might want to make the move in the turn 1. I don't know how bad the dirty air is, but if there is a lot of dirty air, which it seems like there might be, it does change the game a little bit. You know, what can you do with this new hybrid system, quote unquote? Or do you just want to blast it down the straight and just pray for the slow section of sector 3 where there's not a lot of dirty air, but there's a lot of shatterness in the tires? You know, the traction, we've heard people complain about it. I think the traction is pretty good, but that's just me.
I did see with Tadpole, by the way, when he was following, I think the Red Bull, I think it was JTK, at one point through the left-hander before the last corner, or the last braking zone, excuse me. The dirty air does come into effect at some point. So it is still there. I just don't know. It's probably more frequent in certain corners than it was prior, and maybe not effective at all in others. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see because we still have 2 preseason races to go, like we mentioned, Lando. We got F2 tomorrow and F1 tomorrow as well, and probably more to come next week as well. I'll have to give my predictions as well on the YouTube quite a bit later on this week, maybe next week for the upcoming seasons, because we have a lot of hope for this game with what we've seen so far. It's some good, some bad. But until next time, folks, Ryan Searles, Lando 4 Norris, signing off. And we'll catch you next time here in RPL tomorrow for F2 and F1. We'll see you then.